Yeah, very well. So the witch at Endor was like, ha, shrieking and everything, because it's like literally what witches do. Okay, they shriek. Okay, very well. But in my dream, my ex had performed a ritual. What are you doing? Okay, like a total ritual to summon me. Oh, who does that? To get me to place myself in a position where he could see me, and where I'm basically kind of like knocking on his door or whatever. Satanic for like decades. Okay, just a satanic marauder, a thief of note. Nothing kind about such a deed as that. He wanted to summon me using dark arts. And under normal circumstances, I would just ignore such callings, petitionings on the occult's part. Like, I see what they're doing and I'm like, whatever, yawn, roll the eyes. Instead, I recently did like a whole 48-part series unraveling, unpacking stuff about my ex when he wasn't even on my mouth, on the tip of my tongue, neither in my eyesight or my ears or my mind, jogging it up a storm in there at all in the recent history. And yet here he is, that he was just running and running in my mind until I finally did like a whole 48-part series about him. It's such things as these that make witches believe, oh my, I have conjured myself a Christian to be at my beck and call, to rap on, to talk, to dedicate themselves and their all, their splendor and their might to me. And so they get arrogant. But what is rather happening there is the very rare occurrence where the Lord will allow some satanic ritual to actually bring forward an actual Christian, a real believer. And so this like deceived rando Oki that's performing this particular ritual is at a crossroads now. Like proper, he's exactly like Saul, who eventually died in battle the next day, even though he was hoping to be spared. That's why he called the prophet Samuel. But they are at a crossroads. They are about to enter into eternity in that dead state that they are in. And as a last result, they put themselves in a position to be like the actors and actresses in the movie Final Destination proper. They are putting themselves at death's door because they've been such incredible menaces against the kingdom of God, that not just the kingdom of God, but just earthlings, earth dwellers that are absent of understanding as to what's going on spiritually. They just keep knocking dominoes with or without the knowledge of those whom they are knocking over. And so when God wants to finish them off, often he does a witch at Endor thing. All right. And that's exactly what's happening here. But because I understood that my ex would think of me as one that's, what are you doing? Obsessed with you? No, you're the one that's obsessed with me. However, he'd be thinking that I'm obsessed with him. He would then sit there, kind of pompously doing a thing, hoping that I'm going to salivate at his random, like, bunyan having toes. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, we're done. We've moved on. Like, I don't even like you anymore. Frankly, I don't want to talk about you. Okay? Not wanting to talk about you, however, it appears to be inspiring or not motivating. It appears to not be motivating any different behavior, right? So we're just gonna roll around in these streets just accepting random rubbish in our strides, just like taking it, because that's just what humility in Christ achieves in a disciple. When we don't want to talk, we get to talk because we don't get to just down tools. When Jeremiah is complaining, when Habakkuk is complaining, God says to them, if you can't handle men on foot, what are you going to do when they're busy galloping at you in these streets on horses? When Elijah wants to die, he says, get up and eat, for your journey is still too great. Besides, there are 7,000 others that have not knelt to Baal. So that's how God deals with Christian languishings and, walking around just kind of complaining and grumbling. He just tells you eat. And on top of that, you've been dealing with people on foot. They're going to be on horses tomorrow and you're not going to know what to do. So strengthen yourself, get over yourself, recognize that I am God, I've told you. You know it's true, so your unbelief is frankly like irresponsible. Just do better. So given that that's how God deals with all of our grumblings, I've become mature now to stop, staying in a lamenty position for too long. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. All right, we'll do a better thing. We'll pray. We'll be better. Like, that's what's good. But you being better does not necessarily produce bitterness in your enemies. If anything, it might just make them worse. It might make them wax worse. They might just become more and more incredibly just like abusive to the general cause that you are walking these streets in. And indeed, that is what my ex did, like predictably. In my dream, acted like he defecated ice cream, looked at me like I was this thing that just can't stop salivating after whatever he is doing. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you belong to a secret society, you're menacing, I frankly consider you an abomination. I, if it was up to me, would never ever think of you again, neither see you again, neither do anything at all to please your general, like whatever you are doing. But I belong to a God who frankly, when he speaks, you do it. Otherwise he will swallow you you up in a fish. So since I don't want the fate of Jonah, I'm here in a department store. But that's just the thing. God had enough mercy on me to put me in a department store opposite your secret society that you might see me. Okay, that's what's good. And not tell me to actually write you an email, since you know that I know your email address and you know that you would definitely keep that email address all these years down the line, just in case I reach out to you on it again. Like, you know, when a person wants you to knock on their door and you don't want to, and so they hold on to an old email address that frankly they're not using anymore, but just for the sake of just for the sake of opening up an avenue of return of somebody from the past through that email address, they keep it. That's what my ex is doing. He has got an email address that I still remember, right, that I wrote him in years ago in persecution, and because he knows it's the only email address I know of him, he's kept it active for those reasons and those reasons only, just in case I one day decide to write him an email. The pomp. Yeah, no, that's the incredible pomp of my ex-boyfriend. He has held on to an email address because he knows that I know it and that I could, if I wanted, contact him on it, because I have before done exactly that. Yeah, even though that same email address, the little bugaboo does not use it. However, anymore, he's got another email address that is the main thing that he's doing. That little bugaboo, albeit not using that email address, every so often sends emails from it and keeps it active, refreshes the stupid page or whatever, so it does not get consumed whole by the server as non-active. I proper have got an email address into which only I can drop an email that a man is regularly checking in to see if I'm going to do a desperate thing, groveling at his, like I said, bunion-infested toes, that I might salivate after them, that I might perhaps lick them and do a witchcrafted thing. Yeah, those were my grumblings, those were my laments. And I sat in the store and they came to pass literally to the letter, and I'm like, see, bugaboo be out in these streets thinking I'm licking his toes. The Lord was merciful enough, however gracious enough, since this is the man that's rather obsessively stalking me and then bewitching everything in my life, as opposed to the other way around. He is the one that has banked, just as he imagines I have banked his email address, my YouTube channel, my Facebook account, anything at all that he still has access to, my blog. He has banked it like he imagines I have banked his email address. Unfortunately, I've got quite the excellent memory, so I can't forget that dumb email address. Even his number that he had at the time when we were together, I still remember it, for crying out loud. So, I mean, just because I was born like freaking genius and intelligent does not mean I am here to then do whatever under heaven you want me to do because I can remember dumb things from like 20 years ago. Anyway, whatever. As you can tell, I'm quite upset. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, herein lies the deal. In this dream, God was making it clear to me that you will not have to write to this bugger, but this bugger will be listening to every last thing you're saying. He will hang on to every last word. He will listen to this very message that you are doing right now, because he is sitting in a little corner, literally streaming your content, abusing himself because frankly he's lost an excellent thing and he can't deal, and he is hoping to make you run to him, go to him, salivate at him, that you might feel like you're nothing at all. But I am going to give him half of what he wanted. I will make you talk about him in your ministry. Make him believe that, oh, my witchcraft is working, so I just had to cast one more spell to finally get to where I need to get. He will pride himself in having so many people covering whatever general thing he is doing, protecting him in his darkness. He will have so many such souls aiding this particular agenda that he will pompously anticipate that he can get to make all of them feel like you're still obsessed. Okay, so still was a horrible word. What I wanted to say was obsessed, because I've never been obsessed with him. He was my boyfriend. I loved him. I broke up with him because he became a menace to society in the spirit realm, and so therefore physically he started to manifest character flaws that were frankly unacceptable for me to take in my stride as a girlfriend. So I walked, and I never regretted it. I never looked back ever since. However, he has been one to catch me with a little hook and get me to look back at him, with witchcraft. So if anybody's obsessed here, it's him. I once loved him. I don't anymore. And so for those reasons, you do not get to speak of a person that walked out as one who's obsessed with you, because now they've been given the spirit of magnanimity, they've been given the spirit of repentance, they've been given redemption, and now they are made to care for souls. And you just so happen to be among the souls that not so much that I care for, but that God cares for. I have to just put this out there. If it was up to me, I would say nothing extra to this bugger. I frankly am singing that Beyonce song right now. Thank God you blew it. Thank God I dodged the bullet. I'm so over you, baby. Good looking out. You looked out for me, because who wants to stay with a man Otomoloyang? Look at what's going on all these years down the line. 12 entire years since we broke up, and he's still involved in the occult. If I had ended up his wife, I would have been a zombie. It's Kov. In the relationship that is manipulated by a whack husband, I would never have been happy. So I dodged a bullet. So obsessed? I'm sorry. I feel as if they'll stop using big words you don't understand. So herein lies the dream, right? I'm in this like space, really very frazzled by the pomp oozing of this human being encircled by all of these other occult practitioners around him, pampering him with praise, making him feel even more brazen with arrogance than he already was. Okay, and as I'm sitting here, I start to like gauge in my spirit that he's not coming. He's not coming. He sees that I'm inside this room, but he's gonna stay there in the little distance, encircled by his occult friends, and he will not come in here. At which point I imagined that absolutely nobody is going to come. So when the night comes and goes, when the night ends, because remember I was there at night. Those who do dark deeds, they do them in the dark. I'm just saying. Yeah. By the time morning comes, I'm leaving. And after that, like proper, I'm not coming back here again, because frankly, this is trespassing. I told you that department store was not my own. Now, in terms of the department store, why was it a department store? I don't know. You know, a lot of the imagery in my dream sometimes describes actual geographical locations that I don't know are what God is showing me, because I have never been there. But those who listen to me that belong to the occult gauge this thoroughly as the work of a seer, that God has shown exactly what is going on. Yeah, so likely what God is showing me with this department store, why, I mean, look, I cannot interpretively gauge this as anything at all that I can put together in an understandable way as to why the department store. It could have been just a building opposite the one that he was at that was just empty, or a house. It could have been anything, but it was a department store. Oh, and the nature of the department store was, it was a mixture of a store that sells clothes, but also like regular household foodstuffs. So a bit of a Woolies. Like, you know how Woolworths sells both clothes and food? Yeah, something like that. Like a store that sells both food and clothes. This one was small. It looked kind of antique-y. Oh, it was also a hair salon. So maybe it's a mall. I don't know. There were chairs for hair doing in there. There were shelves for food. And there were racks for hanging clothes. And they were selling. It was and I was in this joint at night like a TikTok prankster, for crying out loud, that stays in a store overnight just so they can do a video. I was like that. I had supernatural access into this place. It was still locked and everything, but I was in it, and I understood that if my ex made a decision to come into it, he would also supernaturally be given access inside here, and he wouldn't have his own locks and whatever to open. So I'm thinking that maybe what this was God showing me the geographical location of his occult rando place where he meets with other members of a secret society. It was full of men. That much was for certain. There were lots and lots of men there. Men, I don't remember seeing women, but I saw men, okay? And they were all around him, very preoccupied with what they were doing, but he was obsessively just looking at me through this glass window of this department store while I was waiting for him to do a better thing. But he chose to just hang out with this like conglomerate of beasts with whom he has banded together. Very well. So I think what God was showing me is that where it is that they operate out of. Usually secret societies have got headquarters, okay? Where it is that they tend to meet, or maybe different headquarters, different locations. And one of them, I believe, is opposite. Either a shopping center or a mall or a department store. Like I said, hair salon, also hair salon, clothing, food. So maybe it's a mall, maybe it's a center, like a complex, like, you know, like retail shopping center where there's like a bit of a pick and pay, and then here there is a salon, an actual salon, and then here there is like I don't know, a Walton's for stationery and whatnot, and it's like in a central communal shopping center. Anyway, anyhow, so yeah, that's all I can say. I imagine, yeah, no guys, there's like a plastic bag in there because I'm probably doing a hair treatment, so like, don't diss. This is a wig. We all know it's a wig. Ain't no black girl got hair like this. Okay, cool beans and bananas, right? So yeah, no. So I believe that God was showing me that wherever it is that my ex's little random spiritual harlotry house is at is opposite, because it was literally directly opposite where I was at. It is opposite, what do you call this thing? It's some kind of a shopping center, like I made mention, right? And in the secret society, his members, like I said, from the little house that he's at, right? Where it is that he was gathered with all these other menaces, they could, if they wanted to, if they just, looked in my general direction, see me clear as day. See me clear as day. See me clear as day. None of them were paying attention to me, however, except for him. However, they were all aware that I was there waiting for him to speak to me. So it's like they were busy comforting him or pampering him or cheering him on in his random insanity. On some, desperate le one, you handle her. She's desperate, this one, you handle her. Le ex yako, aina, there's nothing left to amufufurile. There's nothing left of her. You have withered her away. Look at her life. And now look, all she can do is talk about you. All she can do is basically try to get your attention. They had that kind of constitutional disposition about themselves while he was sitting there quite pompously glaring into this window. However, also every so often being distracted by these buffoons that he is collectively working against the kingdom of heaven with. Right? So I believe what God was showing me with that is that wherever it is that he could see me clearly from, alongside all of his other occult beastly fellow practitioners, was that there are weapons or tools, spiritual tools or spiritual weapons that they have that surveil or, just monitor, thank you very much, daily Christian activity. And whoever it is that they were entered into this occult secret society to basically target, they always have tabs on them. They are ever just like surveilling them. So these randos, albeit not being too focused on what I'm doing, he was, however, because he has got a key, I'm a key stakeholder in his occult activity. Yeah, they could see me if they wanted to, but they were not really trying to look at me, whereas he was staring at me. Okay, I believe that is God communicating to me the ability of the occult to not only see what in the world Christians are doing, but they actively monitor us like, Papa, what are you doing, stalker much? I'm sorry, you're giving off eerie. You're giving ghost vibes. You're giving The Grudge. You're giving, haunting in a mansion vibes, like, as in I cannot escape it, so there's a sequel in the movie. You're giving freak. Like, who takes this as a right? I mean, thoroughly and properly, if you pride yourself in surveilling a human being through means other than an actual surveillance camera, so it's explainable, but like it's spiritual, you're a freak. And why under heaven you don't know you're a freak or don't imagine that it is unacceptable for you to be one is beyond me. But that's the thing. People involved in the occult, they do dingy stuff and they somehow think that they're blessed and highly favored. They call themselves the illuminated ones. They think they've arrived, except you're doing creepy things that make everybody else jump up and down like oil on a frying pan. Everybody else freaks out on what you're doing, but you're out here walking amidst it. Last time I checked, the person that walks amidst an eerie atmosphere is the pursuer or the perpetrator in a horror movie. They are the villain, the thing that goes bump in the night, the thing that everybody runs away from. You're Freddy Krueger. So if you are not scared about the scary, ominous, horrific atmosphere, and everybody else is, and they're running from it, you're the villain. You're the bump in the night. You're the Annabelle. You are the thing that's crawling up walls, grunting, groaning, releasing some kind of a menacing growl from them, and everybody is scared of you. You're it, the clown. Why do people in the occult not see how freaky they are? Anyway, whatever. So herein lies this freaky circumstance that is gawking at what I'm doing, but I also, hallelujah, praise the one in heaven. Yes, I could see too. Literally, I could see clearly now. The rain is gone. I could see into what they are doing just as much as they could see into me. So, I mean, really, those of you who are involved in the occult and you pride yourselves in looking into water and then therefore bringing up images of people as to where under heaven they're at, or, conjuring up images and mirrors and freaking everybody else out in the sky. No. There is a way to, see what's happening in the spirit realm without being a freak. It's called being a Christian and being given the gift of a prophet or a seer. All you gotta do is walk around and waking life and boom, God gives you a vision. Or sleep and boom, God gives you a dream. Just as in my case right now, he gave me a dream. I don't gotta do any weird stuff. I don't have to call up anything in a mirror or in a calabash with water in it. All I gotta do is sleep and then God will decide if he shows me stuff or not. I don't even ask for it. He just gives it. For in the last days, God is gonna pour out his spirit on all flesh and people will dream dreams, prophesy, etc. And so I've got the Spirit of God, and He helps me see that which people in the occult also see. So is it not better to just see via the Spirit of God as opposed to like through a mirror in some strange occult ritual that is showing you people that don't know you're looking at them because you're, I don't know, a peeping Tom? Like, stop. Occult activity is disgusting. I can't say it enough. There is nothing attractive about it. Nothing. Anyway, whatever. So here it is that Karabo is looking into an occult mansion or an occult gentis, angazi, some random gathering spot, okay, of like dark beings that insist on ignoring the image of God in them and walking around like devils. Like, hello, they fell out of heaven, like a whole third of them, and you're just like following them. For what? For who? Anywho, anyhow, yeah, but I was looking into this thing, so as much as I could see their stupid, damnable activity, so too were they looking at my blessed activity, within all of my agitation, within all of my irritation, and it was that precise irritation that made them ever more pompous, because they imagine that they've got one up on me because I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm blowing steam out of my ears, but they're chill, they're toasting, and they're hanging 10, except herein lies the deal. The day is going to arrive when disciples, upon mourning, the world will rejoice, but the tables will turn, and when then the world starts to mourn, bleed, kamato, and everything, we rejoice. So yeah, I might be weeping right now, but my joy is coming in the morning. Do not look at me throwing my toys out the cart upset, like I said, bringing steam out of my ears, and anticipate that that is the tantamount of you handling me because you're getting to my emotions. You are. I'm a feeler. I get to feel. Mine has not been a conscience that has been seared, so I appropriately respond to emotional stimuli by every so often kind of, raising my voice. Why? Because I'm human. However, you in the occult, you pride yourself in feeling nothing at all over matters you ought to feel quite a lot for. And so therefore, you don't bat an eyelid when a person dies. You don't bat an eyelid when a person cries. You don't bat an eyelid when a person is suffocating because you've been seared. When you've been seared, you've lost your humanity. When you've lost your humanity, you have lost your mind, because that is the loss of your soul. And when you've lost your soul, the reason why it is the tantamount of losing your mind, it is because it is the acceptance of eternal fire. Who takes that in their stride? So yeah, I'm angry in a way that people in the occult just aren't. But that's only because I'm only human after all. And frankly, I'll take humanity and the anger that it comes with, the irritation, the upset energy. I will take it any day before a seared conscience that makes out of me a zombie. I don't want to be a zombie. Anyway, so these unfeeling reprobates hanging out in this like cataclysmic secret society, frankly, that's all it is, because it's about to tank. I'm sitting opposite it thinking, okay, wait again. Allow the night to fall, frankly, like a 6 a.m. 7. Then I get to flee. I get to go. I get to leave. I will have done my time. I will have done my time. The God, the Lord in heaven, has put me here that I might speak sense into a reprobate mind. But if it doesn't want to hear, at least there is an end date to how long I will sit around in this barbaric environment, gazing upon yet more barbarians. I don't want to do it. So I told myself I'm going to ride it out. And this is what it is that, frankly, I wanted to talk about instead of my ex-boyfriend. Here it is that I'm sitting in this barbaric ecosystem with a lot of animalistic activity that I did not like looking at because, frankly, I did not sign up to be at the zoo at night. Who does that? But I was at the zoo, and the animals were giving me attitude, and all I could think was, I didn't even want to be here. Like, literally, frankly, you are blessed. You are blessed that God is bigger than me, that He's bigger than my fallenness, my limitedness as a human being, that He has more magnanimity than I do, because frankly I wouldn't be here. Baboon, zebra, cobra, whatever might be the zoo animal. And as I'm sitting in this ecosystem, feeling raw like this, in my dream I was raw. Do you understand? Kwatile, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna go and hide my emotions. I'm telling you right now how I feel. I gotta go I gotta go and live my life. Mara, there's a man sitting somewhere in the corner of Johannesburg thinking that he has blocked his ex-girlfriend from having children, from getting married. It's not him. And on the day when he wakes up and realizes that he's not the one responsible for keeping me in this position but God himself, then maybe he might be less arrogant. Because right now he thinks I'm a Christian. I get so if I'm in a bad position, it's only because the Lord has seen it fit to test me through it. God and cold, wicked and perverse generation seeking after a sign. Good, right? As I'm busy sitting out in this like horrific atmosphere, what in the world? Thinking that time is gonna pass, morning is gonna arrive, and I'm gonna get to go home and never have to see this like menacing secret society organization that my ex belongs to ever again. Then in comes these two females, right? They all look like children with little afros, but I understood them to be grown women. Okay, and these two females literally are trying to tell me that they're entertaining me. They're there to keep me busy. Guys, they look like Digoloshis. They were little, they were tiny, they were dwarfish. In comparison to me, I look like an avatar. I was quite the giant in their presence. I was huge. Mammoth is an understatement. But they were apparently allegedly there for my comfort and my solace in the sorrow that I am sitting in. These females are actually the key point of this discussion, more even than my ex-boyfriend. While I am enduring this calamitous situation at the hands of my ex, the Lord showed me there will be an infiltration by a certain caliber of females. A certain caliber of females. And it's these females that I'm here to address and just kind of tell them, oh, basari, I'm fighting a spiritual war, okay? Those of you who are listening to me, God bless your soul if you're here with a proper ear, but if you're not, I'm also gonna diss you. Like, I proper don't have energy right now. I'm kind of short. I have a temperance issue. 1 Corinthians 13, I'm bordering on being a loud gong and a clanging cymbal because of not speaking in love. But this is only because of the attrition I am endured under, because of all of this activity in the occult. I'm already going through a lot. Like, what? Insult to injury much? Like, I just feel as if they'll pepper it into my open wounds. Like, cease and desist, vinegar do it. Stop. Women, you know what? Exercise self-control, restraint. Do that. Blomang, sit in a corner nicely and just watch me from a distance. Do you understand? Do that. I had a dream. In this dream, that's actually that was the bane of my existence in this dream. It was not even so much this random ex of mine that is keeping me hostage in some strange ecosystem, but it was the fact that there was a conglomerate of women, females, that were helping the agenda along. Whether or not they belonged to the secret society, like I said, it was made up of men. It was unbeknownst to them, these females, that there was an operating secret society. Do you understand? That caused me to be in this department store, busihu, at night. Kisabate. But they rocked up in there claiming to be comforters of my general constitution. They did not know that, frankly, they're exacerbating my sorrow and my pain as I am busy trying to snatch a buffoon that I have no desire to even do such a thing as outside of the life of, because I've been trying for over a decade. Like, no, so God has given me a mission, a task, to snatch us all out from the flames of hell. And it is an arrogant, pompous, like big-headed, like task, like being that I'm doing this for. And then there comes some underestimating rando females all up in my grill trying to act as if though they're comforters. Yo, I've had my fair share of bad friends. Like, I come from a history where I would have a club of girls and we'd be good for like 5 seconds and then they'd start gossiping me. I would pick up a change of attitude. I miss them all. I would walk into a room and they would all go quiet. And one time at MTN, there were these girls that I used to club with. They were my friends. I sat down with them in the coffee shop while waiting for my order. And they decided to tell me where to get off. In other words, they were explaining to me what character flaws I carry and why I need to change. I was already a Christian at the time. I was like, I did not expect this. This level of demonic activity, they broke my heart so much. I left, and ever since that day, made a decision that I'm no longer hanging out with them. They won't know. I'm going to keep my distance. That's my history. Lidi Chir.